from Srimad Bhagavad-gītā as it is. Translation and commentary, Srila Prabhupada. Please repeat. Today's verse, chapter 3, Karma Yoga, verse number 31. So I'll just do line by line, because you're all great pandits. Ye me matam idam nityam anutiṣṭhanti mānavāḥ śraddhāvanto nasūyanto mucyante tepi karmabhiḥ. Yea, those who, may, my, matam, injunctions, idam, these, nityam, as an eternal function, anutiṣṭhanti, execute regularly, mānavāḥ, human beings, śraddhā-vantaḥ, with faith and devotion, anasūyantaḥ, without envy, mucyante, become free, te, all of them, api, even, karmabhiḥ, from the bondage of from the bondage of the law of fruitive actions. Translation, Srila Prabhupada. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow these teachings faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. Please repeat. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow these teachings faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. Purport, Srila Prabhupada. The injunction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇa, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom, and therefore is eternally true without exception. As the Vedas are eternal, so this truth of Kṛṣṇa consciousness is also eternal. One should have firm faith in this injunction without envying the Lord. There are many philosophers who write comments on the Bhagavad-gītā but have no faith in Kṛṣṇa. They will never be liberated from the bondage of fruitive action. But an ordinary man with firm faith in the eternal injunctions of the Lord, even though unable to execute such orders, becomes liberated from the bondage of the laws of karma. In the beginning, Kṛṣṇa consciousness one may not fully discharge the injunctions of the Lord, but because he is not resentful of this principle and works sincerely without consideration of defeat and hopelessness, he will surely be promoted to the stage of pure Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Mukam karochi vācālam pangam lahite yad kripa tamaham bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. The bass, turn down the bass. The bass is booming. Can you hear? I don't know. Okay, the bass. Huh? Yeah. Anyway, it sounds better now. That's Mukam karoch vācālam pangam laite girim yad kripa tamaham bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. Ye me matam idam nityam anutiṣṭhanti mānavāḥ śraddhāvanto nasūyanto mucyante tepi karmabhiḥ. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow these teachings faithfully without envy, become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. Yes. So, these injunctions are the injunctions of service to Kṛṣṇa through executing one's karma, one's natural propensities to action, but not for one's own benefit, to perform an action to enjoy the fruit, that is material life, but rather to perform one's duties as an offering to the Lord, and to see the result as the mercy of the Lord, and engage that in the service of the Lord as his prasadam. That is karma yoga. So that is the injunction. And in the previous verse, Kṛṣṇa is explaining that in summary to Arjuna. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me, with full knowledge of me, without desire for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. So that's Arjuna's duty. As a Kshatriya, he should fight. But he should fight on the principle of religion. He should not fight for personal profit. It's very interesting in that verse, with full knowledge of me. So sometimes people may consider I should just be sincere and then I'll develop spiritual life. Well, no. You should be sincere in the right direction. Kṛṣṇa in the Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami has said, anyabhilasita sunyam, without material desire other than to serve Kṛṣṇa, jnana karmadi anavritam, anukulyena Kṛṣṇānu shīlanam bhaktir uttama. That pure bhakti, the highest stage of bhakti, is such, without material desire, without fruitive desire, without desire for spiritual merging into the Supreme, but it is favorable to Kṛṣṇa. Anukulyena Kṛṣṇa. So one should have knowledge about what one should be sincere about. If we approach Kṛṣṇa, we may be offering our works to Kṛṣṇa, but we may consider this is a very good thing. I'll go to Swargaloka. Or we may study the Vedas thinking, oh, I'll become known as a great scholar. This is a good thing. Maybe I'll enter into Brahman and become liberated. Kṛṣṇa says, no, in full knowledge of me, in full knowledge of the ultimate goal, then we should be sincere. Because in the material world, everyone is sincere. Some people are sincerely rascals. Some people are sincerely stupid. Some people are sincerely bad. So sincerity must have the caveat that one should be sincere in the right direction. So that's why Kṛṣṇa is saying, have full knowledge of me. That means, what is the spiritual world? What is the prayojan? What is to be achieved? What is the highest thing? What is that which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is called Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate? He is the most merciful because he is giving Kṛṣṇa prem. So that is similar to us. We may continue in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, in the temple life or in this and that, and we may be ambitious for some material fruit. So Kṛṣṇa ye idaṁ prapadyante, we'll see in the 4th chapter. Yeah, if you're ambitious for material opulence, if you want position, if you want money, then Kṛṣṇa will give that. There's that verse in the Bhagavatam, akama sarvakama mukṣakama udharyate trivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. Whether you have all material desire or no material desire, or you desire liberation from desire, you should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, therefore, I think it's the 2nd or 3rd Bhagavatam canto, muktir hitavanyata rupena, swarupena avavashtiti. That what is mukti? What is that freedom? It is to be swarupena, to be situated in one's swarup, in one's spiritual relationship, to be situated in the spiritual body, swarup, that is intrinsic to the soul. The soul is like a seed in the conditioned state. And within that soul, there is swarup. There is an intrinsic, inherent, inbuilt relationship and spiritual form. So that is our swarup, our form, our personality spiritually, our form spiritually. Our form is, in the transcendental world, is an expression of our prem. Material example, similarly, in this material world, the expression of our consciousness is our material situation. If we have the consciousness of a dog, then we attain the form of a dog. If we have a consciousness of a devata, we attain that. If we're a Gandhava, if we're a Apsara, if we're a Rakshasa, Kinnara, Preta, Bhuta, so many 8,400,000 categories, so we will get a corresponding form to our consciousness and desire. But this is all temporary, and it is developed by our karmabhiḥ. It is the result of two things: our deed, our action, and our calm, our desire. People, we will see in the 15th chapter that the material world is compared to a lake, and everyone is floating on this lake, going different directions, different bodies, different situations, according to their calm, their desire. They navigate. And it is carried out by Kṛṣṇa. It is the result. They are not actually the fully possessor of their actions. Rather, it is carried out by material nature. When I desire to raise this hand, I think I'm doing this, but actually Paramatma is perceiving my desire. That desire is transmitted to the devatas who are in charge of the material energy, and they are operating the body. Because the soul, being spiritual, is always aloof from this material energy. But the consciousness is entangled into the modes, the subtle effect of the material nature. And the devatas are empowered by Kṛṣṇa to operate the material energy according to the desire, the calm, not karma, the calm, the desire of the soul. And the calm, the desire, results in karma, action. And the karma results in bondage. So the root is desire. And we are navigating and we are being drawn and carried through the material nature according to our desire. So sadhu sangha, the mahajyena katasva-pantha, they describe the spiritual world, the Bhagavatam. They describe the relationship of the soul with Kṛṣṇa, and they give the process. So here Kṛṣṇa is expounding karma yoga, that action should be dedicated to the Supreme Lord by our desire. If we desire to enjoy the fruit, we become bound. If we desire to perform our duties materially, then we become liberated if they are offered to Kṛṣṇa. So, yena tena prakarena mana Kṛṣṇa niseshanat, that this is the ultimate Veda, that the ultimate injunction is that somehow or other the consciousness should be fixed on Kṛṣṇa. And that is the meaning of yoga. That is karma yoga. In the 4th chapter, Jnana yoga will be described. Then there is Ashtanga yoga in the 6th chapter. And then Upasana, Bhakti yoga. So the operative word is yoga, union. So union is attained with the Lord through bhajatam pritipurvakam. That is the only real link. And so karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga. Ashtanga yoga is a subdivision of karma because it is a bodily activity, regulating the breathing, posture, and so on. There's a stress on bodily activity. We can consider these 3 divisions, karma, jnana, and bhakti, in terms of the individual. We have a body, a gross body, we have a mental body, and we have a soul. So karma yoga stresses the actions of the material body. You have material duty to society, to your family, so on and so forth. And Jnana yoga stresses the actions of the mental body. I'm using my intelligence. The basic principle of Jnana yoga is to distinguish between matter and spirit. The basic principle of karma yoga is to perform all activities as an offering to spirit. And the basic principle of bhakti yoga, which attends upon the soul and therefore is to please Kṛṣṇa. anukulyena Kṛṣṇa anu, through love, without envy. So these are all progressive. Karma, bodily activities, intelligence, jnana yoga, spiritual awakening. And they are all integrated ultimately, and they are all meant to awaken ultimately seva-bhāv. And that means the mood of service. So the swarup, the natural relationship that the soul has, is awoken by seva-bhāv. It will remain dormant for billions of lifetimes if there is no seva-bhāv, but not seva-bhāv in ignorance to my class, my community, my family, but seva-bhāv in knowledge of the Supreme Lord. So, to gather siddhanta of the absolute truth is imperative. It is imperative. And therefore, I think we'll see in the 4th chapter, tadvidi pratipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tatvadashina. We should approach those personalities that are tatvadashi. They have seen the absolute truth. That means they are established in full faith, in full knowledge of the absolute truth. And therefore, they can convey the correct siddhanta. They can convey sambandha jnana. They can convey abhideya jnana and prayojan tattva very nicely and accurately and pertinent to our particular position. They are expert in bhakti. So you may say, where is that? Jnaninas tatvadashi. There may be so many very nice devotees. Well, that is very simple answer. If we remain on the bodily conception, we will think, I have to find a body that is tatvadashi. Now that is very good. One should seek out Paramahamsa, Mahabhagavat, Mahat Sevam Dwaram Aho Vimuktes. But Bhakti Vinod makes this very clear in Chaitanya Shikshamrita. He says, but if we cannot find that sublime Vaishnav, Mahabhagavat, then we should take shelter of the commentaries, the writings of those sublime Mahabhagavats. So, starting with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And therefore, Prabhupada, in the beginning of the Gita, he gives the chain of disciplic succession. But it is a chain of Mahabhagavats. It is Madhavendra Puri, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Baladev Vidyabhushan, Sad Goswami. It is a chain going all the way back of great Mahajan. Because in that sloka, Tadvini Pratipatena, you will see in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, Mahajyena Katha Swapanta. That there may be so many conceptions here and there, but we should follow the path chalked out by the Mahajan, by the Mahabhagavat. We should associate with the Mahabhagavat. We should gain knowledge from the sublime devotees. So you may say they are available on the spiritual platform. For the soul there is never birth nor death. We should never consider that Rupa Goswami, Sad Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Madhavendra Puri, Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that these are historical personalities. They are ever present. They are transcendentally situated. They are beyond the material energy, the time factor that we see in this world. They are always available. Therefore, when we go to Rupa Goswami's samadhi, we don't consider, oh, I'm respecting his burial place. We go there if we have knowledge and we think, I am going to associate with Rupa Goswami. If I go to Madhu Pandit's samadhi in Radha Gopinath, I'm sitting there to get the darshan, to get the association of Madhu Pandit. When I go to Gopal Bhatta's samadhi, then I'm going to have his association. Similarly, Prabhupada said, I live in my books. So, to learn Siddhanta properly, we must understand why all the great acharyas have written commentary. Because in that way, they are giving us association from the eternal platform. And if you pursue this path of full knowledge, you will perceive. You will, when you read the writings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you will feel the presence of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. You will become, I feel how Bhaktivinoda Thakur is. If I may say my personal experience, I've read nearly all the books of Bhaktivinoda Thakur that are available, and so many of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, and then different common Vaishnavas, Jagananda Pandit, and you can feel Narottam Das Thakur. When you sing his bhajans, you can feel his bhava, his presence, his personality. So all these different personalities, they have exactly that. They have their own personality, and it is manifest in their writings. And sevaya, you approach the Mahajan, the Jnananas Tattvadashi, one who is situated in the absolute truth, in realization of the absolute truth, and sevaya, that means that you follow the instructions, the guidance. Just like Kṛṣṇa explains in the Gita, that one who worships, one who studies this sacred conversation worships me by his intelligence. And is it not a fact that when we read Bhagavad-gītā every week, you're very kindly coming, when we read Bhagavad-gītā, what happens? We get to know Kṛṣṇa. Not just in an intellectual sense, but in a real, actual sense. We feel the presence of Kṛṣṇa. And then we also understand Arjuna, do we not? Do you not perceive his personality? So that is what we should be searching for. We should be searching for realization of the personalities of these great souls. And they will reveal themselves. Just like if you want to get to know anyone, you associate with that person, do you not? And then you learn that person's particular nature. And every soul we know has a particular nature. Not just materially, but spiritually, every soul is individual. everyone has a personal relationship with the Supreme Lord. And that, achievement of that, awakening of that, is the goal. And that is what should be desired. Instead of calm for karma and the fruit of karmabhiḥ, we should be desiring the awakening of Swarup. So, that will naturally be there when we realize Kṛṣṇa and Krishna's devotees. Just like the sun. When the sun comes up, then everything is seen. So when Kṛṣṇa is realized, we were talking about this last week, that Kṛṣṇa is the source. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat. Everything has come from Kṛṣṇa. So our relationship has come from Kṛṣṇa. When Kṛṣṇa is realized, then everything is realized. Because Kṛṣṇa includes everything. So we may be engaged in so many duties, bodily duties, intellectual duties, but we should always maintain this vision of Kṛṣṇa and Krishna's devotees as our goal. That is what I'm trying to achieve. Sadhu Sangha, Sava Shastra Hoy, Lava Mata Sadhu Sangha, Sava Siddhi Hoy. Brahmanda Brahmate Kona Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prashadi Bhai, Bhakti Lata Bij. That Bhakti Lata Bij is the desire to attain our relationship with Kṛṣṇa. So Kṛṣṇa here, he gives three. Follow my injunctions. Yena tena prakarena. Somehow or other perform a form of activity that connects yourself with me, yoga. Whether it is stressing bodily activities and bodily duties, whether it is study of the Shastra, studying Sanskrit and studying the Vedas, do it. And then if you're performing pure bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, perform all these activities. And what is the fruit? Realization of Kṛṣṇa. And then when Kṛṣṇa is realized, our relationship with Kṛṣṇa will blossom. Just like when the sun is shining, the rain is falling, everything is fertile, the flower blossoms. So the Swarup is the expression of Kṛṣṇa Prem. And that Kṛṣṇa Prem must be cultivated as the central core of all yoga. Kṛṣṇa says here three things, if you remember. He said you should perform these things in today's verse regularly. Who execute their duties according to my faithfully. Anutiṣṭhanti, execute regularly. With faith and devotee, śraddhā-vantaḥ. And then anasūyantaḥ, without envy. So three things. We should perform our bhakti regularly. Sadhana bhakti means practice, regular practice. And then two sides of the coin. The negative thing is we should not be envious, as Prabhupada points out, of the Supreme Lord's supreme position. That is the disease of the conditioned soul. He wants to be supreme. Instead of recognizing that he's not the supreme, he wants to be the supreme. That is Ravana's pathology. That is Hiranyakashipu's problem. That is every little demon's problem. They all think that they are the center of the universe. And it all comes from calm, right? The diseases of the mind are 6. Lust, anger, greed, illusion, pride, and then envy, matsarya. First we desire, then we become frustrated, we can't control, we become angry, and then we become desiring more. That will be the solution. And then we become moha, in illusion. We develop a material conception of ourselves, and then we become envious of the Supreme Lord. Pride, false pride, material conception, ahankara. So Kṛṣṇa explains, perform bhakti, mam namaskaru, practicing humility before me. Now Kṛṣṇa is not profiting in that sense. He is telling us that if you are humble before me, that will touch my heart. Why does everybody like a dog? Everybody loves a dog, right? Have you ever had a dog as your pet? Because the dog always considers himself inferior, does he not? He's very faithful to his master. He never rebukes his master. He's always satisfied by what the master gives him. The dog never, a bad dog, he always considers my master is wonderful. When he sees his master, he wags his tail. Now, I'm not saying we should become like dogs, but we should learn from the dog. That the dog is faithful and ever satisfied with the behavior of the master. And the dog looks to his master as his benefactor. The dog is looking after me. I'm not a street dog anymore. I'm staying in the master's palace. So the dog is faithful. So we can learn from the dog. That's what Kṛṣṇa is saying, without envy, without considering, I want to enjoy Sita like Ravana. I want to enjoy the Lord's energy. But what did Ravana get? He only got Maya Sita. He couldn't touch her. That is the material world. The material world promises a dream, but delivers a nightmare. Repeated birth and death. It's like communism. So, without envy, and then that is the negative side. But then on the other side, with faith and devotion. Faith based on siddhanta, knowledge. If we study the writing of the great acharyas, then our intelligence will be very satisfied. And not only that, our relationship with these great mahajans will blossom. We'll perceive them in their words. We will associate directly with them. Then we'll have real faith. And then we can become devoted. And devotion means that I consider the pleasure of my beloved Lord and his devotees. That is love. Bhajatam pritipurvakam. So the last few classes before today, we've been discussing this point, that we have to understand that Kṛṣṇa is our origin. He's our creator. And this is the root of everything of Kṛṣṇa. He is the source of everything. And if we contemplate that Kṛṣṇa is the source of ourselves, then we lose envy and we become devoted. because we realize one simple point, that if it wasn't for the Supreme Lord, Sri Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Creator, I wouldn't exist. Right? Is it not? If it wasn't for the Supreme Lord having created ourselves wouldn't exist. And He is maintaining us. He is keeping us alive materially and spiritually. So, once we realize that generosity of Kṛṣṇa, we put aside any competitive idea and we become devoted. We become thankful. So Kṛṣṇa says that. Study the acharyas regularly. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Realize that Kṛṣṇa is the soul of the soul. Right? We've discussed this. We want to find our soul. But the soul of the soul is Kṛṣṇa. And if we have that endeavor within the center of our consciousness, then Kṛṣṇa consciousness is very simple. So thank you all very much. Any questions, comment?
You were giving this example of a dog, and
Chanika Pandit says that, yeah, has 4 good qualities. One of which is he wakes up very fast. You know the dog?
But I remembered
Go on.
I remembered a song by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So he sings, Sarvasva tomar charane samapiya, podeche tomar ghare, tumi to Thakur, tomar kukur, bolia jano ho more. The translation of which is, now that I have surrendered all I possess, this is prayer to Kṛṣṇa. Now that I have surrendered all I possess, I fall prostrate before your house. You are the Supreme Lord, kindly consider me your household dog.
I've heard something like that.
Yeah.
This is our dog collar. I've heard that. So, yes, the dog is very... Chanika Pandit, in his Niti Shastri, gives 4 good qualities of a dog. One is, he wakes up very fast, generally. When they're very alert. He's very faithful to his master. He's satisfied with whatever the master gives him. And he never rebukes the master. He always humble before the master. So yes, please take me as you... But we should understand that these statements of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, we can see his bhava in it, is it not? Please take me as your dog, household dog. So...
Those qualities are very important because usually we are not satisfied with what Kṛṣṇa does with us. So we are rebellious as well. But a dog is never rebellious. It's always okay, like you said.
He's faithful. So faithful. He never leaves his master.
Faith and devotion.
Yeah. And also Bhakti Vinod Thakur in that Manasadeho Geho, he says, I give everything to you, my dear Supreme Lord. If I have to be reborn, then let me be reborn as an insect. But it must be in the house of a Vaishnava. Yes. So this is when we hear these things, they have to be understood through bhava. Right? Just like Krishna Das Kaviraj in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says, I'm the lowest of the low.
I'm in the stew.
Yeah, and if anyone takes my name, they lose their piety. But this is the ecstatic, this is the bhava. Yeah, this is rasa shastra, you see. So that is very good actually. If we are liberated by bhakti gyan, then we can understand the bhava of the great Vaishnavas.
Thank you.
But we should never think, he's being accurate in his humility. No, we should. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, my question was that you were saying that vidhi pranipaten, that pariprashna, that to sublime devotees. So that you told about the vidhi and sevya to sublime devotees, that we should read the literatures, and then for seva purpose we should follow their instructions. And what about how we can do pariprashna with them? That I am reading in Prabhupada's book. So.
Yes, good question. Well, we can read the pertinent bits. Pariprashnena means you can inquire submissively, yes. So, for example, Jiva Goswami, he's written the Satsandarbhas. So there is the Tattva Sandarbha, there's the Bhakti Sandarbha, Bhagavat Sandarbha. They all deal with specific areas of Krishna consciousness. So if we want to know Bhakti nicely, we can read Tattva Sandarbha. And we can look up in the index. We can inquire through the index, through the structure of the writings. And you will find also that as you progress in spiritual life, Chaitaguru, you will learn the presence of Chaitaguru. You will have some topic in your mind, and Krishna will come to you. There is one verse, Yasya Deve Parabhaktir, Yasya Deve Tata Guru, Taishyate Kahita Yeta Prakashante Mahatmana. That for that person who has implicit faith in Krishna and his devotees, everything is automatically revealed. So your question is pertinent to a more neophyte condition when we're trying to understand Siddhanta. Well, we can understand that reading the Shastra, that it is progressive, it is not scattered. What the Acharyas have given is structured. For example, if you read Jaiva Dharma, you will find it extremely structured. He starts from what is Dharma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and then in the 40th chapter he's describing Rasa Tattva. But at the same time, we should seek an experienced devotee. So what is that devotee that we should seek for our personal guidance, right? That's your question, is it not? That is two words from Munduka Upanishad. Who is Guru? What is the qualification of the actual Guru? Shrotriyam Brahmanishtakyam. Shrotriyam means he should be learned in the Shastra. He should have read everything. He should have absorbed. He should be initiated in the right Guru Parampara. He should have studied everything. And then Brahmanishta. Now that first thing is easy. It is easy to study the Shastra. But he should be Devim Prakritim Ashrita. He should be a liberated soul. Mahat Sevam Dwaram Aho Vimuktes. Those Mahatmas, those Mahabhagavats, they are the object of our service. So, if we should also understand, like I said, that if we study those acharyas' words, that is the greatest service. You understand? There's a story about Srila Prabhupada in Hawaii. Prabhupada would go for a morning walk every day. So there was one devotee who would take care of the garden. And Prabhupada about 6 o'clock would go for the morning walk. And that devotee, every day he was fixing the flowers, putting fertilizer. Then one day he was reading the Bhagavatam when Prabhupada walked by. And Prabhupada stopped that day. And he said, oh, very good. Huh? Just by studying the Acharya's books, we are performing seva. You understand? Let us not just think that seva means cleaning or some bodily activity. You understand? To read the Shastra, that is seva. And it is very powerful. Shravanam Kirtanam. Prabhupada many places says that Shravanam, hearing, is the most important. Somebody may say, no, it's Kali Yuga, you've got to chant Hare Krishna. But how did you know that you should chant Hare Krishna? By hearing it. Everything. Archanam Vandanam does, oh, you want to worship the deity, very good. But how did you hear about deity worship? By hearing. You understand? And as we often say, at the beginning of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that those that are lazy in understanding Siddhanta, their progress is difficult. You understand? If you sometimes there's a story about a man, he had an axe and he was trying to cut down or chop up wood. But the axe wasn't sharp. So somebody said, sharpen the axe and then you can chop your wood. And then the person said, I don't have time to sharpen it because it's blunt. Do you understand? I don't have time to stop chopping to sharpen the axe because the axe is blunt. So sometimes people say, I have no time to study the Gita. I'm doing too much service. Usually they're frazzled. No, if you don't study Shastra, Siddhanta, if you don't associate with these Mahajan, then you will associate with your material conditioning. The modes will... But if you study 1 hour a day minimum, 16 rounds, 1 hour a day, then that's what Kṛṣṇa says. Regularly. You understand? And then with devotion. Like when we read the Gita, it should be done with love. The jnani may think, nice Sanskrit here. Good point, Kṛṣṇa. But the Bhakta thinks, you know the real student of Bhagavad-gītā, right? The story of Mahaprabhu. The devotee, he was illiterate, right? But his spiritual master said, read the Bhagavad-gītā every day. So he was sitting on the bank, the steps of Jagannath Puri temple, and everyone, the big proud pandits, would laugh at him. Oh, he can't read properly, look at him. He's crying because he can't read. But then Mahaprabhu came and he asked, why? You're the real student. And he said, because when I see Kṛṣṇa and Arjuna, I just see how wonderful is Kṛṣṇa. Arjuna is so confused, and the Supreme Lord, he is so wonderful and humble that he's become the chariot driver. And in the middle of the battlefield, he is instructing. So then, you are the real student of Bhagavad-gītā. Because bhakti is the goal. That is the prayojan. That is what we must understand through the acharyas, and that is what we must desire. You understand? That is what we have to practice. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.